Make Christmas happen. Will you just let Christmas happen? Or will you make Christmas happen? In previous sermons, I encouraged you to wake up, to cast off the works of darkness like jealousy and anger, quarreling, and put on Jesus. That is, to live as Jesus would live. Then magnify the Lord and be alert for spiritual experiences. And then look. Look for what is pure, what is honorable, right, and just. And look for Jesus where he is at work. And let me add one more suggestion this morning. Make Christmas happen by following Christ's example, which we heard read in the lesson. Who, being in the form of God, did not count equality with God something to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant. Therefore, following his example, Philippians chapter 2, verse 4, let each of you look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. In other words, make Christmas happen for someone else, and Christmas will happen to you. Do the unexpected. What surprises can you arrange for someone this Christmas? What can you do that will allow God to bless someone? I was hanging lights on the eaves our first Christmas in our home in Mesa when our next door neighbor came over and said, "Get off that ladder, I'll do it." Michelle, a flight attendant, was concerned about me falling off the ladder, and she hung the lights. She checked our house regularly. She found termites. She found leaks in the sprinkler system, and she repaired them. One Christmas, she hung new lights on our porch and on our garage. What a neighbor. What can you do unexpectedly for your neighbors without thought of receiving anything in return? After spending Christmas Eve in Paris, an American columnist described how they had no Christmas spirit. They were tired from their trip. It was cold and rainy when they went out to eat. They found a small, drab little restaurant, shaddily decorated. 5 tables occupied by 2 German couples, 2 French families, and 1 American sailor who was writing a letter with a big smile on his face. The piano player played Christmas music listlessly. There was no joy. The evening was dismal. Everyone sat in stony silence. One father slapped his son. But then in came an old woman selling flowers. She went table to table. "Flower, monsieur? Only 1 franc?" Wearily she sat down, ordered a bowl of soup, and said to the piano player, "I haven't sold a flower all afternoon. Christmas Eve soup." Well, the piano player pointed to his jar that was empty of tips. Then the American sailor finished his meal, took his letter, and walked over to the flower. And he picked out 2 corsages, selected 2 corsages, and said, how much are they?" She said, 2 francs. He gave her a 20-franc note, kissed her on the cheek, said, Merry Christmas, keep the change. Then he took one of the corsages and flattened it and put it in the letter. And he took the other corsage over to the table where the columnist and his family were seated and said, May I have your permission to present this corsage to your beautiful daughter? And he gave the corsage to his wife, wished them all a Merry Christmas, and left. Everyone stopped eating. Everyone had looked at the sailor. Everyone was in silence until a few seconds later, Christmas burst through that restaurant. Christmas. Do something unexpected. Christmas may be an unhappy time for people who are living alone, for the elderly whose families live elsewhere, for those who are estranged from their families, for those LGBTQ who have been rejected by their families, for those mourning, grieving over the death of a loved one. Christmas may be a sad time for them. Choose someone. Befriend him or her. Go out of your way to share yourself. Invite some lonely folks to your house. And if you can't cook anymore or you don't want to entertain, take 1 or 2 to a restaurant. Or invite him or her over for coffees and cookies. Or you might spend time on the telephone and make special calls. Make 2 calls a day for several days. You might want to hang their Christmas decorations. Do something unexpected. But perhaps you will be alone for Christmas. You have a choice. You can choose to feel sad and for yourself, a little self-pity, say, nobody invited me. Or you can choose to be happy with the life, just to take the life you've been given and depend on morsels that drop from someone's table. Or you can give vent to feelings of bitterness and anger. It's your choice. Or you can choose to make Christmas happen. Take the initiative. Say to someone, I'm going to be alone for Christmas. What about you? Shall we do something together? By the way, Christmas is not just one day. Christmas is how many days? 12. 12 days. You know the song, but it begins on Christmas. It doesn't lead up to Christmas like culture says. It begins on Christmas. It lasts for 12 days. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and do all your celebrating on one day. When Ellie and I were children in Minnesota, there was a tradition where after Christmas Day, families would visit each other's homes, enjoy the decorations, eat Christmas cookies, and ooh and ah over the open gifts under the tree. Do something. Take a risk this Christmas. Like a little child, take the wonder. Let the wonder and the mystery of Christmas speak to the child in you. Be adventuresome. Dream. Fantasize. Let God use you. What do people around you need this Christmas? Do they need a word of forgiveness from you? A word of reconciliation? Do you have some grudges you need to get rid of? Is someone upset with you? Get it worked out. Do the unexpected. Reach out and touch someone. And it's not so much what you can do for someone, but how you might encourage them to live their lives. How you might encourage them to accept the responsibility for their life and the challenge. And rather than reinforcing people in their self-pity, rather than reinforcing them in their feelings of worthlessness or dependence or inadequacy, encourage their self-confidence. Encourage their ability to trust their own skills and abilities. And encourage them to grow spiritually. Encourage them to receive the best Christmas gift of all, to receive Jesus into their hearts, into their lives. Tell them about your faith. Ask God to use you and give you the right words at the right time. And let God fill you with His Spirit. And then invite them to come with you to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day services. And you all come to gather as family, as God's family, your church family. And together we celebrate and we receive the love, the joy, the peace, the hope of the Christ child. Make Christmas happen for someone else, and Christmas will happen to you.